Welcome, everybody. And without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Kelly Ross with Echo Collective. And we are very excited to have you, Kelly.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to be standing like this during my presentation, so I'm not blocking off the folks who joined on Zoom. So I really appreciate your patience. I'm a very timely person, and so I'll probably speed a bit through this because I respect your time and I honor your time. So again, my name is Kelly Ross. I'm the founder and executive director of Echo Collective. We founded last year in September of 2020, one of the best times in all of our lives, I imagine. Yeah, and so ECHO is an acronym. It stands for Empowering Communities Through Her Opportunities. I am not a wordsmith, but my husband is, so kudos to him for coming up with ECHO and the acronym. But it also has a lot of imagery in ECHO. We really want to echo the success of the women that we work with. We want to echo their development. We want to echo their amazing businesses that they create through our program. And so, okay, sorry, my computer is a little slow. There we go. Hey. Yeah. And so Echo Collective, we provide support and resources for local refugee and immigrant women. So it's really important for us to empower them, to provide opportunities where they can grow in whichever way they want to go, and also make sure it's in a nurturing environment because they are already coming into the country most likely with pretty extensive trauma. And so for them to grow, they need a lot of love, and we provide that at ECHO. We also want to overcome the barriers that don't need a fluent level of English. A lot of times in my previous work over the past decade with lots of nonprofits, you would hear a lot, oh, you want to do this with your life? That's great, but first you need to learn English. Oh, you want to do this? You have these skills? That's great, but first you need to learn English. And if you've ever tried to learn another language, you know that not everyone's good at it. Just because they're a refugee or immigrant does not mean they have an aptitude for learning languages. And so it's unfair to place that burden on them where they have to learn a whole new language coming into the country, a lot of times in their 30s, their 40s, they have a spouse, they have children, they have trauma, and it's like, let's meet them where they're at instead of giving them this impossible standard to meet. And so those are the women that we seek out, those women that are skilled, talented, remarkable, and are still on their journey of learning English, and we meet them halfway. And so my inspiration for starting Echo Collective, come on.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Now those are the two from your last cohort.
There we go. Yeah, so yes, I'll get to the refinery, but yeah, these are, yeah, in the middle, those two are women who were part of our summer cohort in the program I will tell you about. And then the woman on the right, she works in the dean's office at the College of Business at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. So she was, Deb, yes. So she was one of our volunteers. So my inspiration for Echo Collective and for the program that I started called The Refinery is this woman right here. Her name is Cecilia Vargas, and I was her English as a second language teacher for about 5 years. And she is remarkable. She's so talented. She crochets, she knits really anything, embroidery or anything like that. Oh, you kept doing that. So we have a pair of her earrings on Diane right now. It's one of her new offerings. She does lots of different things, and she would bring these items into class, and she would give them away as gifts, and I would say, you should sell these. And she said, well, I want to, but I don't know how to even start. I don't speak English. She speaks English. I don't speak English. I don't know the laws and regulations. I don't have anyone to help me do it. It's impossible. And at the time, she was living in a mobile home in an area where it was not safe for kids to play outside. She has 3 adorable little boys, very rambunctious, and she saw this as an opportunity for herself to move to a house to provide a better life for her and her family, but she didn't have the support to do so. And so she was my inspiration. I started the refinery. So the refinery works with refugee and immigrant women. We provide business education. We provide professional mentorships. And again, all of this is meeting these women where they're at. They don't have to be fluent in English. So I wrote the curriculum. It's proprietary, and it's at a mid-intermediate, low intermediate level of English. So it's palatable. I'm proud to say that Cecilia purchased a home this year with a big backyard and a huge tree and a sandbox, and they live next door to a family with other children who actually also speak Spanish, and so the kids go out and play in the backyard, and it's been a really amazing success story to see Cecilia grow. She also sells some things in the From Nebraska store in the Haymarket, and then we're looking for another retail placement at a shop downtown, which I'm not going to mention yet since we're not in it, but she has been really successful with her business. There are 3 different pillars for our entrepreneurship program. As I mentioned, the business education is all at a level of English that is easy to digest for the women. The curriculum is community supported. I did graduate from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln with a degree in Spanish, not business. And so I don't know everything. I think we can all say we all don't know everything. So I call on local businesswomen, community leaders to come in and speak to specific topics, and that also grows these women's social network at the same time. So Diane actually comes in and spends an hour with us, with every group, and talks about pricing. And it's great because then they meet Diane, and I'm not becoming their sun and moon. I am building out their network. So she's the star. And so when they need help with anything, they know where to go. And so I'm activating their resources as well. And then last, an industry-specific mentorship. Again, I can't know the ins and outs of every industry. And so I pair them with a mentor who's in their industry for at least 6 hours so they can ask questions like retail placement or pricing or what chemicals should I not be using in my company, different things like that. So in order for a woman to take part in the refinery, my entrepreneurship program, they need to own a business or they have to have an idea to start a business. We don't do any type of exploration or talent skill discovery. They need to be ready, they need to know what they want to do, and we'll help them achieve that. Again, intermediate level of English, and then bloom where they're planted. So these requirements are pretty broad, which means we have a very diverse group of women who come to me, especially their background. So I have women who I work with who are not literate in their native language, which significantly impacts their ability to study independently. Because they can't just pull up Google Translate and switch things over. Another thing, I work with women who are literate in their native language, but that language is not on Google Translate. And so they have to use these really difficult ad-infested third-party apps to translate, and sometimes it doesn't work well. And then I have a woman right now who was a lawyer, and then that was too dry for her, so she opened a fitness studio for a decade in Mexico. And so I have women all over the spectrum, and it's a joy to work with these women, but it's also a challenge making sure that all of their needs are met, which is why the community is so important in helping me do this. It takes a village, right? So when I was about to start this, of course I thought, should this be a nonprofit or should this be a for-profit? And so on this slide, I see these as opportunities for growth. I did see them as challenges when I first started. So since it's a nonprofit, it's not mine, even though I use my language. I do have a board of directors, and they have the authority to encourage me to leave whenever they would like. And so theoretically, tomorrow, this could not be my organization. So it's really important that I involve the community. It is a community organization. And so whenever I do leave, I want it to thrive. I want it to live. And that's why I'm trying to pull the community in. For the mission and vision, I know what I want to do, and I know how I want to do it. And in a for-profit, typically you do it how you want to do it. A nonprofit does not work that way. There's a lot of democracy in a nonprofit, and democracy, as we know, is wonderful, but painstaking. The wheels turn very slowly when you're doing things democratically. And so that's also been interesting, developing relationships with my board of directors, understanding the experiences that they bring to the table. A lot of them have lived experiences coming to the U.S., from another country, being an entrepreneur, and so listening to them and understanding that, again, I don't know everything. And then typically in a for-profit, you have one set of stakeholders, and that's your customer, your client. But with a nonprofit, you have two sets of stakeholders. You have the people you serve, where you're administering your services, and then you have the people who give you money. And so it's a lot where you're constantly providing energy towards these two completely different types of people. And so that has also been an opportunity for growth. And communicating how my value proposition to my stakeholders, to my donors, it's difficult because it is intangible. They're not receiving a benefit that's easy to see on paper. It is one of the greatest benefits that I think you can ever receive from anything, giving back to someone and knowing that you're making a difference in the world. But that's very intangible. That's not quantifiable. And lastly, I wouldn't change a thing. This is difficult, but I wouldn't change a thing. I think a nonprofit was the right way to go. So let's see, I think that's the last one. Yeah, so volunteer opportunities. I have 3 different types of main volunteer opportunities for the refinery. The first one is a in-class weekly volunteer. It's for an hour. You come in, you help me with whatever needs to happen. You sit with the women, you watch for gaps in understanding, you ask questions, and it's a really great experience because you build relationships with the women that we serve. So Deb, as you saw from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, she was one of our class volunteers, came in 1 hour a week for a whole summer. I have another woman actually from the College of Business with me right now, and then I also have a woman from Lincoln Literacy. I've had someone from El Centro de las Americas, from Catholic Social Services, from the Asian Community and Cultural Center. So I try to bring people in that can provide that extra level of support. So that is just a classroom volunteer. Then of course we have speakers like Diane does. You come in for an hour, you talk to your expertise. It is a challenge for you because, again, these women do speak an intermediate level of English. And taking what you know, what you're really good at, and simplifying it is so hard, okay? It's very difficult. And so I'm looking for those people who are up for a challenge. And then lastly, of course, the mentorships. So I'm always looking for people, especially women, to mentor the entrepreneurs I have. If I don't have someone right now who's in your industry, I probably will. So even just connecting with me, saying, hey, I'm interested in this. If you ever have someone who's in the cleaning business, let me know. And that's all I have for you. So thank you so much for your time and for waiting an extra 10 minutes for me.
Well worth it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Anybody have questions, comments? Oh, lots of them.
Good.
Well, I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask anyway because I don't think everybody else knows. Where are you located?
Sure. So yeah, I'm in the Turbine Flats building, which is awesome because it's a group of entrepreneurs in a co-working space. And so these women really thrive there. There's lots of opportunities for them to network and to meet other people who are doing the same things that they are. Yes.
Have you connected, or did you hear our last speaker, Lee Kramer?
Yeah.
She's the chair of my board.
Okay, because I was
Yeah, she's a gem, okay?
going to say, you
Yeah.
connect because interpreters, she probably has
Mm-hmm.
people that could work as interpreters for you, and it's like, okay, you do, or just...
Yeah, when I started this, I reached out to her, and one of her greatest skills is she can herd cats. Not everyone can herd cats. And again, in a nonprofit, when you have a lot of voices speaking up that need to be heard, it's a lot of cat herding. It's like, all right, here's our goal, here's our goal, here's our goal. And she's very good at that. So I'm like, hey, Lee, I'm starting a nonprofit. Do you want to be my chair? And she's like, oh, Kelly, okay. Yes.
Do you have a list or a place where we can find you past and current clients or businesses that we if we wanted to go out and support, like for example, get a cool pair of crochet earrings,
Mhm.
by the way, was so hard to select, but would there be a place on your website that we could go and shop?
Sure. So right now, I do not have any type of e-commerce on my site because I am doing, the director work and the teaching work, and I mop the floors, and and right. And so maintaining a website with individual SKUs, doing product photography for each entrepreneur is an amazing idea, but I don't have the time for it at the moment. So that is a TBD. That's coming hopefully within the next year. And in the meantime, you can go to our website, therefinerylnk.com, and if you go to programs and the refinery, as you're looking on the page, it has all of their logos, and if you click on them, it'll take you to their Instagram, or their Gmail is just right there on the website where you can send them a message. So, yeah.
Any other questions for Kelly?
How long did you say you could do this?
I started it in September 2020, so a year.
I figured, yeah, I was like, wow,
Yes, so 8
During the
women.
pandemic.
Yeah. So 8 women have graduated from our program. We actually had the graduation on Sunday, which is where Diane got the earrings. It was amazing because it was in person. And then I have 5 women right now. So.
Well, and if you do events in that, you should check out the balloons, the
Yeah, Bia with her balloons. She's very good at balloons. Yeah, and I actually have a meeting next week, so we're already going to get connected.
I think I've been drugged.
good for you.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
it's well worth being drugged. That's
Yes.
that's it.
My glorious undertow. Yeah.
So what did you do previous, and what gave you the idea, or
Mhm.
I wanted the passion to start this?
Sure. So as I was graduating with my degree in Spanish, I was not fluent in Spanish. I thought, wow, this has worked out really well for me. Don't tell my parents. I volunteered for SCC's Family Literacy Program at Clinton Elementary. And growing up, I always wanted to be a teacher. I'm the oldest. I would force my younger siblings to come to class with me, and I would teach them things, and it was torture for them. But as I grew up, I babysat and I volunteered for church things, and I realized I do not like children in big groups. It's not for me. I'm more mentorship, and so I thought, well, I don't want to go to grad school, so I guess education is out of the picture for me. And when I walked in that classroom in Clinton and I saw what they were doing, I thought, oh my gosh, I want to do this the rest of my life. And from then on, I opened my own site on West O at Lakeview Elementary. I did that for 5 years. That's where I met Cecilia. I taught night classes at SCC. I was an immigration paralegal for Brown immigration law. I helped ramp up the citizenship program at El Centro for 3 years, helped 350 people naturalize through that, which I'm really proud of. What else have I? I've done a lot of things. I worked at Lutheran Family Services as a caseworker. And through all of that, like I'm in homes, I'm in the hospital, I'm filling out job applications, like I'm walking alongside refugees and immigrants, and I kept seeing these barriers. And there are a lot of amazing nonprofits in Lincoln that are meeting these emergent needs, like food, shelter, housing, and of course, employment. Like Lincoln Literacy is doing an amazing job with CNA prep and paraeducator prep. But I wasn't seeing anything really beyond that, like where these women had the chance to be who they wanted to be. In the United States of America, like that's where we say you should be able to be who you want to be, right? And it was really frustrating to me. And Cecilia was just the cherry on top. It's like, all right, this is where I'm going to funnel all my energy. This is where I'm going to start, is in entrepreneurship. And that's the story.
So you found a need and you're wanting to fill it.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yeah, I do not ever want to duplicate services because, as I said, I have so much respect for all the other nonprofits in Lincoln that are doing the work. They're doing great work. So I just hope to kind of fill those gaps. Yeah.
Anyone else? Anyone on Zoom have any questions before we wrap up? Nope. All right, well, thank you so much, Kelly.
Thank
for
you.
being
Thank
here.
you so much. Thank you.
Coffee in your mug. That is yours to keep.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for being here in person, everyone that joined us on Zoom, and stay around, mingle, have another cup of coffee, have some more pastries.
Yeah, I brought 2 dozen.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, gee, thanks to my arm cut.
Yeah.
I gotta go have another one. Oh, I know, I'm so supportive. Eating your food.
And we hope that you can join us next week for Christina Oldfather will be here with Lincoln Partnership for Economic Development. So thank you all and have a great Thursday.
Thank you.